Welcome to Beyond the Game, Wealth Mastery for Athletes. I'm Kris Benson, private equity real estate investor, and I'm joined by 9-year NFL vet Alec Ogletree. Beyond the Game is a podcast where we will provide a playbook for financial growth both on and off the field. Join us each week as we'll have in-depth conversations with other pro athletes as they walk us through how they've created wealth beyond the game, both on and off the field. They're going to share their triumphs, lessons learned, and setbacks along the way so that you don't make the same mistakes. Join us. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. All right, guys. Today we had the man once named the most dominant defensive player in the game, University of Georgia alum linebacker. The man led the SEC in tackles his junior year in college, an absolute stud, All-American, Rennie Curran. The thing that stuck out to me most with Rennie was he had an interesting playing career, was essentially always fighting an uphill battle, but the amount of work he did on himself while he still was in the game to be ready for that transition to beyond the game was incredible. So I think you guys are going to love his story, especially if you're trying to find a way to what is going to be next for you. Rennie's story is going to resonate with you.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Beyond the Game here. Today we got my good friend Rennie Curran here, Georgia legend. Just been inducted into the Georgia Hall of Fame and also recently engaged. And so we here with him and obviously our co-host here, Kris Benson. And man, we appreciate you coming on, man.
Most appreciate y'all having me.
Most definitely.
Rennie, I'm sorry Alec had to beat you in ping pong.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Before we start, I saw the Instagram post for the engagement.
Yeah.
This looked like the wedding.
Appreciate it, man. That's how I like to do it.
Quick, high level. What was the setup? What was the story?
So the story behind it was, I'm a keynote speaker full time now, and we also met at a charity event. And so my thinking was that I'm going to tell her that this is just another speaking event, charity event for FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Sure.
So I even had a guy call me and say, "Hey, Rennie, I got an opportunity for you on October 29th on Sunday." So she had no clue whatsoever. She is thinking, well, she's come to a bunch of them with me, just, helping me, supporting. She's an amazing girl. Helped me sell books and things like that. So she walks in. It's at the Omni in Atlanta, Centennial Park. She gets there, man, and I had an Uber pick her up. So I was telling her, hey, they want me to go in a little bit earlier to meet with some donors, as I have a foundation. So I'm like, they just want me to meet them. They want to help me prepare, whatnot. So she didn't think anything of it.
Sure.
She got there. I told everybody to get there at 5. All her family, friends, my coaches, everybody we knew and loved and all that good stuff. So all of them got there. Not all of them, it was always some late family. Yeah. So I told everybody to get there at 5. She got there around like 6:30. She missed her first Uber, so that actually helped because there was a couple stragglers. So she gets there at like 6:30. She walks in, man. And the setup was basically I had everybody on had 3 columns of like pictures, roses, and all that stuff.
Holy
And then
smokes.
on the dance floor,
Man,
it all
romantic,
led to the
man.
dance floor, yeah, with roses and the Marry Me sign and all that. So when she walked in, everybody said surprise, and then they parted ways, and then there was a Marry Me sign, and did my little speech, and it was amazing, man.
Awesome.
I'm not going to let my wife listen to this episode.
Sorry,
You're setting
man.
the bar high.
I know. I didn't mean she deserves it, man. She's a good one. It's hard to find a good one out here, man. Like you don't understand, bro. It was a struggle. So like,
Good for you.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Alec, what'd you do when you engaged? You proposed
I was supposed to go take my wife to dinner and do the proposal, but
You didn't make
we
it
went to Arizona. Yeah, no, we didn't make it to dinner. We made it to dinner, but I kind of chickened out a little bit. I was like, I'm not doing this in no restaurant. I'm going to do this in the hotel room, whatever, right? And so I end up singing All of Me by John Legend, right? In case y'all didn't know, I'm a singer.
You were singing to her?
Yeah, I was singing to her.
Oh, does she have this on video?
Yeah, she got it all.
We gotta get that
It's only
clip.
for her.
We
It's
got to
only for
get
her.
that clip somewhere.
No, you can't have
Yeah,
that.
the auto-tune on there. You just did. The auto-tune mic.
I had a plan and I was recording it, with her. I'm like, yeah, you should record this right here, right? And at the end of the song, I was down on one knee and proposed to her. And yeah, she was like, unexpected, obviously, but
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I did mine.
Can't go wrong with John Legend, man. That's
No, you can't.
legendary.
Yeah,
Well, congrats, Rennie. Next
Yes,
phase of
sir.
your life.
Yeah.
You
Feels good.
You set the bar high, though.
It
I'm
did.
telling you,
I know,
my wife and
man.
I have been married for 20 years. You set the bar that high.
Yeah,
That's
man.
a lot of expectation moving forward.
That's what I do, man. You know, it's tone setter, right?
Hey,
You know?
ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Speaking of
Yeah.
that, yeah, so obviously, like you said, we got you here today. Obviously, the name is Beyond the Game, right? So
sure.
going, I guess, kind of go back to when did you know you were going to play football? Well, how was football like a part of your life? How did it become a part of your life?
Yeah, man. So football really started when I moved to Gwinnett. So
Okay.
grew up in Atlanta. Like
Yeah.
people say Atlanta, but they talking
I
about
ain't from yeah.
Yeah, nah. I was born Midtown. Grew up off North
Grady,
Virginia.
baby.
Yeah, nah, Crawford Lawn.
Crawford Lawn,
Yeah,
okay.
if you don't know about Crawford Lawn, but
yeah.
parents from Liberia, man. So they knew absolutely nothing about football whatsoever. Just thought it was a bunch of people hitting each other.
First generation?
So, yeah, first generation, man. First person in my entire family to ever do it. So,
But your parents came directly from Liberia. They weren't second generation to America, born here.
nah, they came fresh, man. Mom came here on scholarship to go to Emory, and she was a nurse. So she came here to get her master's. Then my dad came, developed the skill of fixing shoes. So he eventually bought into a shoe repair franchise out in Kennesaw. So he would drive back and forth like an hour. I mean, they were just grinders, man. Super humble people, man. There was a civil war taking place at that time. Over 300,000 people lost their lives. So those were my earliest experiences. So we start out there. When I'm 10 years old, we moved to Gwinnett.
Okay.
So my parents' idea was education, right? That's most immigrants. They're thinking, you need to get that degree. You need to set yourself up.
Yep.
So they moved our family to Brookwood, which they were just thinking education, not knowing Brookwood is a powerhouse football school. And I just so happened to meet my Little League coach, Ronnie Benton. South Georgia boy, Alamo, Georgia. Most people have no clue where that's at. It's like,
I don't know where Alamo is.
Yeah, one street light town, but the biggest Georgia fan. So he was the reason why I really found football. I found a love for it. His son played quarterback. I eventually played running back. And it all started there, man. We had an amazing Little League team. I tell everybody we like the Mighty Ducks. We're like, remember the Titans? We lost 6 games out of all the years we played together. And we're still connected to this day. I was the best man in his son's wedding. I actually talked to him on the way here. My Little League coach, he's like my Mickey. Like if you watch Rocky,
yeah.
So always giving words of wisdom. It became like a second father, man. But yeah, those were my earliest experiences. Started out as like offensive lineman, then running back, then found linebacker in high school, and it wasn't something that I wanted to do. I was ready to quit actually when it first started, but because my Little League coach said, Rennie Curran, focus on what you can control. That's what, for me, established that mentality that I had as a linebacker, where I told myself, man, I'm going to either make every single play, I'm going to be around the ball on every single down. And that's what got me to University of Georgia and, the rest of my career, man, just effort.
Is Brookwood, I don't know Georgia football well enough, Brookwood in high school ranks studs? I mean, that's a big-time program.
Yeah. Gwinnett as a whole, I mean, there's so much talent that comes out of Gwinnett.
Brookwood, Parkview,
Yeah, Brookwood,
Buford.
Parkview, yep. So we got like Alvin Kamara.
Oh, right.
We got Lorenzo Carter.
Yeah.
I can go on and on. The amount of Jared Cook. So many players have come out, and I'm leaving out a ton of names, but so much talent has come out of Gwinnett area.
When did you know it was a path for you to education, right? I mean, I assume you were first person in your family. Were you brothers and sisters? Or
2 older sisters. I'm the youngest.
Okay, they go to college before you?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, when it came to sports, man, I knew because my oldest sister, she was born in Liberia. So when she came here, she had the opportunity to go to Emory, but they actually took all of her scholarships because she didn't have her green papers. Yeah, and so my parents, they were like, nah, you're going to Emory. You've made the grades. You've done what you need to do. So they took out all their life savings and helped her to go through Emory, yeah. And then the next year, my dad lost his business. Mom almost died from a surgery. And so I'm thinking to myself, man, if I don't get this football thing, if I don't get a scholarship, I'm going to be at the crib.
Yeah.
I'll just go down and I remember having that specific thought. This was at 12 years old. So at that moment, I was like, this is so much bigger than just football. I got to change the trajectory for my family. At 12 years old, I'm having those thoughts,
man. A heavy burden.
Yeah, it was a heavy time, man. And luckily I had so many people around me, man, that blessed me. Going back to my Little League coach, this man, he paid for me to get training with his son. Who does this, right? Pay for me to get training with his son by a guy by the name of Chip Smith. And Chip is, in the Gwinnett area, trained Brian Urlacher, Champ Bailey.
Just like performance guy? Speed.
Performing. He invented pre-draft, NFL draft, preparation and that whole deal. So happens to live 15 minutes away, happens to take a liking to me, and happens to let me train for free. Yeah. So if you ever read the book by Malcolm Gladwell, The Outliers,
sure, he's
talking about me. I'm an outlier. So because of the people, because of the environment, and I just so happen to be in that community, man.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So kind of transitioning forward, you go to Brookwood, obviously stand out there at Brookwood.
Yeah.
Right? And then you end up going to Georgia, right? Was Georgia your only offer?
It was at all and everything, man. Georgia was where I wanted to go. Yeah. I was considered too short for my position, man. So I heard it from 15 years old, from when my recruiting process started, that undersized, every term that basically meant you weren't what they wanted, what they expected, I was called that. And, it was hard work. It was going over the above. It was putting myself out there. That's really what I started to learn about sales and marketing. Because I became a salesman. I would put my Timberland boots on, give me 2 extra inches, and my Little League coach would check me out of high school, and we're going up there. I mean, I'm up there religiously at Georgia, man. When I'm a sophomore, junior, I had one coach that was my lead generator, my linebackers coach at that time, Dickie May, and he connected me to one guy that was on the team, Des Williams, who ended up, it's crazy because we actually ended up wearing the same number. Yeah. I didn't even, that just occurred to me. So he got me like a little, backstage pass to get in there. So everybody's looking at like, who's this annoying little kid walking around? I'm nowhere on their radar. I'm 15 years old, 16 years old. And I'm just going up there, man, like just in awe, man. And then I'm coming back, to my reality, which sucked at the time, and just going ham in the weight room, man. Field, man, trying to get 15 tackles a game, trying to get 20 tackles a game. My junior year, had 198 tackles my junior year. Like water boy, bro, like hitting everything moving.
Anything.
Yeah. And that's what got me to UGA. It was like UGA, honestly, they weren't even trying to recruit me. Like they were trying to recruit a guy by the name of Caleb King. He was #1 running back in the nation at that time. And when we played them, everybody was there, all the schools, and like, bust his ass. First play, it was.
Where he went? Caleb went to.
Yeah, Caleb was at Parkview, our rival school.
Right? Yeah.
But it was like the situation where they were looking at somebody else, but I just showed up to the point where they're like, hey, we got to give this dude a chance. We got it. We can't pass up.
That was your shot.
Yeah, I made myself undeniable. And even though I didn't fit the mold, and even after they offered me, it was like a lot of people were like, what are they doing? Like,
turned out okay.
Yeah.
Not knowing.
Turned out okay. Your career at UGA, pretty legendary.
Yeah.
All-American junior year, led the SEC in tackles. I guess it turned out all right.
Yeah, like I said, man, it was just working in faith. My whole career was about coaches, teammates, was about putting in the work in the dark, operating in faith. Because
what do you mean? When you say operating in faith of what?
Operating in faith meant, man, operating at the level of not my circumstances, but at the level of my vision. So long before I ever got those.
Say that again. That's a good one.
So operating not at the level of my circumstances, but at the level of my vision. So long before I ever got, even this is in high school, every level I got to, it was like I had to operate in faith, meaning that like I had to believe and move, and my behaviors and my effort had to be at the level of where I wanted to be long before I ever got there. So I'm talking about scout team, everybody making fun of me. I'm 20 yards behind the starting team, just going through, not, like coaches talk about getting mental reps, like I'm getting physical reps, but I'm 20 yards behind the starting team by myself. Like I'll do stuff like that, Did that in high school. I mean, it would be weeks and weeks and weeks. And it was like God was testing me every time. Weeks and weeks and weeks, somebody get hurt. And then I'll get out there, get my shot. And it's like, because I got those reps in faith, then I got that promotion, I was already ready. Georgia, same thing. I got there, didn't get redshirted, but, wasn't playing. Scout team, second string. Everybody, guys laughing. whatnot. My own teammates. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. We're playing Tennessee. Third quarter, we're down by 3 touchdowns. Guy ahead of me messes up on a play. He's supposed to have a running back man-to-man. He blows the play. Running back scores. Coach calls from the you remember?
Yeah.
You pick up the phone on the bench to the skybox. Coach said, "You're in. I'm ready," because of what I did all those weeks.
Already prepared.
Faith. Yeah, was ready, man.
Yeah.
That's my whole career.
Where's that come from?
Man, it definitely comes from home, man. I came from a foundation of faith, man. And I just, truly believe that if I just dedicated myself, if I remove myself from outcomes and just really focus on being a good steward, I believed in that. Like, God gave me this talent, I'm not going to waste it, 1. And then 2, man, just telling myself, I'm going to just be the best version of myself. Regardless, I don't care if I remember having that conversation in my head. I don't care if I never play it down at UGA. When I leave here, I'm going to know I did everything I could to get out there. And if nothing happens, I can look myself in the mirror. Same thing when I got to the NFL. It didn't go great, man. I didn't have a long career, but even when I was a free agent, waiting on a phone call for weeks and weeks and weeks, same thing, man. I'm going to do something with this platform. And that just became my identity, man.
It's hard. It's hard when you get to we
So
talked about
hard.
it. Tyrell Adams was on, I don't know, first or second episode.
Mm-hmm.
He played for 14 teams in 8 years.
I know T, yeah, man.
And
real.
For me, I'm just talking about myself personally. I don't know if I'm mentally strong enough for people. And I know there's circumstance that goes along, but basically somebody's telling you you're not good enough every time you switch teams, right? I mean, something's happening. I know there's personnel decisions and stuff, but the mental piece of that is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to get told like, hey, this isn't for you or this isn't for us.
Yeah.
And then keep
Going
going.
a different direction.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful lesson when I look back now, man. And it's given me so many nuggets. You know, I speak to companies and associations and work with entrepreneurs and different people. But, I mean, going through that time now, man, it just reminds me that you're not always going to be rewarded for what you work for what you're working for. Yeah, and the reward is not always going to look like what you expect. So all that work I put in, man, as an athlete, being a free agent, staying dedicated, the delayed gratification. Now I'm being rewarded as an entrepreneur for my ability to get up every single day, not be rewarded, but still make the phone calls, still go to the events, still do the business meetings, still, work on my strategy long before. Same mentality, man. I got that muscle memory. And so whenever I get down as an entrepreneur, I'm reminding myself, and this is what I tell athletes all the time. I'm like, bro, write down all the characteristics of what made you great as an athlete. Now, I want you to transfer that over to wherever you are now when you're going beyond the game, because that's who you are. So many of us forget that when we take the jersey off.
Identity.
Yeah. So I remind, man, when I was I was relentless. I believed regardless of the circumstances. I was always looking to get better. I had a team of people around me. I mean, there's just so many things. And so, yeah, it's something that I think about now that I'm so thankful I went through that, man.
It's funny how those lessons come back around, right?
Heck
You
yeah.
don't know what they are when they're happening. I mean, we were talking before we started. You're just in it. But then you look back, you're like, huh. I mean, we were talking before we started recording. I had my first son when I was 21. You had your daughter when you were pretty young.
Yeah,
and at the time, it's not easy.
No,
right? I was a
man.
senior in college. I was
Sophomore, bro.
prepared.
Yeah.
I was ill prepared to be a father at that point. But the lessons you learn makes you grow up fast. And now you look back and you're like, I wouldn't do it any other way.
For sure.
I mean, those are interesting things. So at UGA, I mean, you were a stud. I mean, if you led the SEC in tackles at any point in your career, there's so many athletes there. It's insane.
Yeah, man.
But you chose to come out early. What was that thought process? So the NFL was there, but again, you're probably hearing the same messages, right?
Oh, yeah. Same exact.
Too short.
Yep.
You don't fit the stereotypical linebacker, protocol. What made that decision for you?
Yeah, and that was part of my thought process, actually, because I was like, man, if I stay in my senior year, I'm not going to grow, any taller. So
Maybe you get bigger Tims?
yeah, I mean, maybe a new pair of Tims would have came out. But, it really was not going to help me. Also, another major factor, he was coached by Todd Grantham. That was his defense coordinator. I was not. And a lot of times when you have regime change, they come with their mentality. They want to establish their culture. They want to establish their system. So we ran a 4-3 at that time. They were going to switch to a 3-4. I never played in 3-4, and that would have been my senior year. So I'm thinking, man, my stock is probably as high as it's going to get. I maximize, you're an investor, when your stock is hot, man, you got to cash in. Yeah.
Take the chips off the table.
Take the chips out, yeah. So that was a major factor, man. And then my daughter, she was about to turn 2 at that time. Family's still struggling. This is pre-NIL. So, I had some tough decisions to make. And if I would have had NIL, that would have completely changed things. But at this time, man, I'm doing reverse NIL, man.
Hold on now.
I'm taking that Pell Grant, I'm splitting it in half and sending it to my family. Like, I'm taking out student loans. It was real. And so, I had to make a business decision. And I remember, making a pros and cons list because it was one of the toughest decisions in my life. I'm a team captain, have the opportunity to be the all-time leading tackler at Georgia if I come back my senior year. Like, there was a lot of things if I came back that would have been good for me. But, looking at if I leave, the things I'll be able to do for my family, for my daughter, that's what it really came down to, man. And when I showed that, I sat down with Coach Rick, had a meeting with him, and I showed him my pros and cons list, and he was like, hey, he couldn't argue with it. So, it was tough, though. Yeah.
What were you projected? What were guys telling you coming out?
Yeah, I was projected.
You came out 2010?
10, yeah. I was projected second, third round.
Okay.
Yeah, second, third round, man. And, it's still, like, you never know where you're really going to go. It's so much chance and so much of it is timing. I'm coming out with guys who look like linebackers. Relano McClain, this guy, Relano McClain, Brandon Spikes, like all these guys, 6'3", 250, just out of this world, man, size and measurables and all that. And
but
so
putting up the same numbers.
Yeah,
even
putting up better numbers.
Better numbers in them.
So I'm thinking, okay, I can do this,
You're the
man.
Drew Brees of linebackers.
Yeah. And it's crazy, man. I remember looking at the rosters at that time to look at what teams I could potentially land with, right? And when I looked across the league, out of all the linebackers, there were maybe 4 or 5, if that were under 6 feet. And you got London Fletcher, Ernie Sims, like John Beeson, and like Zach Thomas. I don't even know if Zach Thomas was playing, but it was like 4 or 5. And I'm just like, hey, same thing. Going by faith, man, and just believing that my hard work, my effort is going to create some type of opportunity.
It did?
Yeah.
You got drafted third round?
Third round, man.
What's money like in third round in 2010?
So in 2010, the signing bonus, I want to say it was like $3-4 million. Signing bonus was like $600,000. Yeah.
Game changer. Or,
yeah.
From the perspective, from where you're coming from.
Oh, yeah. Nah. From where I come from, without a doubt, it's a game changer. But when you start to factor in taxes, I know y'all probably talked about, yeah.
Did you have an understanding of how money worked kind of at that time?
Nah, bro. And that's what I tell everybody is the biggest struggle. Because even if you have an understanding of money, if you never had $500,000 in your bank account, there's just no way for you to understand like the longevity of $500,000.
Especially at 22.
Exactly.
How old were you?
I was 22. Yeah, I was 21 going on 22, yeah. So there's just no way, like I said, unless your parents come from money, all those things, you don't know. What gets guys, I'll tell you, is like I said, they don't understand the longevity. So if I spend $5,000 a week, how long is $500,000 going to last me?
Not very long. 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody knows that. You don't know. Your parents don't know that.
Did you have any, your parents being immigrants, grinders, was there any foundational knowledge at all?
Nah.
What was the advice you were getting from agent, your network, anything? Or were you just kind of in the dark?
Bro, I was in the dark. You're in a new city. You're 22 years old. You're just trying to
You got drafted by Tennessee, right? You're in Nashville?
Yeah, you're in Nashville. So
you got a little tax break.
You get
no state income tax.
Yeah, you get, you have many conversations and whatnot. The toughest thing is everything is happening so fast. And like you just trying to learn the playbook.
Yeah.
And
Alex
they
talked about
expect
that a
you-
lot, right? Like it's like, I'm just trying to play football.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
That's
like,
what got you there. It wasn't financial literacy.
Right.
You know, like knowing how to
made all
run
these
through
tackles and-
right, knowing how to run through that B gap and knowing how to get to your drops and knowing how to come down and make an open field tackle. That what got me there.
Yeah.
So now they're going to provide you with the, little bit of insight. You're going to go to the rookie symposium. You're going to have maybe a financial advisor that comes in and gives you an hour-long workshop on finances. But I give people this analogy all the time. If I told you I want you to get in the best shape of your life and I worked you out for an hour and that was it for the year, would you really take me that serious? Would you expect to be in a,
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
You
Check the box.
Check the box, man.
Check the box.
Yeah.
Did you have an advisor at the draft?
So I didn't have an advisor until I got my first check, which is July. So you get drafted April or whatnot. So by July is when I started getting the checks. I found my advisor through one of my teammates, one of the veterans, which a lot of us, we lean on the veterans. We watch how they move and how they, do business and different things like that. So he says, hey, I'm, working with Joe Smo. They're great. Oh, I'm listening to him. He's been in the league 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and our kicker at that time, Rob Baronis,
I remember Rob Baronis.
yeah, amazing guy, man. I can't believe he passed away. But he offered me, just some advice. Cool dude, man. Seemed like somebody I could trust. So he referred me his financial advisor, and that's who I went with, man. Yeah.
What was the first thing you bought?
So first thing I bought was a car.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah.
What kind of car?
I got that new Challenger just came
Ooh.
out. Yeah.
That's what you had, didn't you? Oh, you had a Charger.
No, I had a Challenger.
Yeah.
Challenger.
So,
The 392. I had that 392.
I didn't do the 392 now.
I had that
I
one.
was on a budget. But it was, which is, little things, right? Like this are things you don't think about. So I was, at that time, my first signing bonus was $90,000, my first installment.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking I'm good, right? Like, so the Challenger comes out. I get the RT. I'm not doing anything crazy. It was 29. I think it was like 29,000.
It's like a Toyota Camry.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
Just a
thinking in
little
my head,
flashier.
this is, I'm very humble right now.
Mm-hmm.
Cause this is a battle now. You have to, if I can afford nothing in college. Like I said, Pell Grant and all that. You go from that,
Reverse NIL.
reverse NIL, bro. Go from that to 90 grand. And I remember the day I came home from practice and opened up my Bank of America account and everything was in reds. And then 90,000
Mm-hmm.
hit that
What do you
thing.
say, Alec? You said a lot of debits. I see a lot of
Oh,
debits.
man.
Straight
And then-
negative. It's just negative. What?
All right, reds, bro. And then 90,000, bro. I'm just like, ooh, wow. And it's just like a high that hits you, but then you come back down from it and, there's that realization that, man, I'm still the same person. Like, dang, is this it? So I did have that experience, man, but there became that battle where it's like, man, I done worked hard for this. I deserve this. So you want to spend some of it. You worked your whole entire life for it. I heard a lot of no's. I heard a lot of short jokes. So, so I want to spend some of that thing, man. Want to help the family. I was just tired of struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm humble. I'm not spending a lot. Got my daughter, get some things for her. But yeah, it was definitely an experience, man.
How did you think about budget? Because again, you're 22.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So how did you think about, or did you think about, or did your financial advisor give you that guidance where it was like, look, I want you to live on X number of dollars a month. You talked about, hey, if I spend $5,000 a week,
Right.
that's 20 grand a month. That's 240 grand a year. Did you think about it that way at that point? Or was it just, I'm playing football? Because a lot of guys we've talked to have talked about like during the season, I got this.
Shut it off.
Right.
I'm not worried about money. I put it in the bank.
Yep.
I'm grinding every day. A lot of the guys were, like you said, super humble, live in an apartment, like not flashy at all. And then they kind of pick their head up and they're like, okay, now what am I going to do with it? How did you think about that?
So my whole idea and thinking was that, man, I'm going to be humble no matter what. Like, I'm not going to go spend a ton of money. I'm like, even with simple things, suits and like luggages, some guys have the Louis bag and all that. I'm just like, man, I'm keeping my same Georgia.
Starter kit.
Yeah, I'm keeping my same Georgia backpack. And so I'm getting on the plane traveling. Guys like, what are you doing, bro? Like, get you a loot. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to K&G's, getting my suit off the rack. You know?
Alec, you should have hooked him up with a custom suit guy.
Yeah. So I was very, very humble, but I didn't have a clear budget, right? At that time. And so my thinking was just like, I'm gonna just stay under a certain amount. And then I'm also thinking, because at that time, when you're a third round draft, when you're anywhere from first to third round, you're like, oh, I'm gonna at least get 2-3 years. So if I just stay humble, if I get to, second, third year, I'm a ball, I'm gonna become a starter. Oh, I'm gonna get to that second contract. That's everybody's thinking until it hits the fan. Yeah. So went through that first year, man. We came out good, man. I did a lot of things to help my family, and this is something that it's talked about, but when you are the first, there's a certain weight that comes with that.
First, like, to what?
First to make six figures, first to get to that level. It's like you're not the only one that is drafted. You're not the only one that wins. Your family, your church, everybody that cleans your diapers, like that tax that comes with making it and being like one of the first is real.
Is that a cultural thing? Is that a black-white thing? I've heard people say like the black tax of like who comes with you. Because culturally, like my parents were blue-collar people. Like we're strong middle class, but not upper middle class. My dad, we didn't want so much. But like as I made money, no one was ever like,
right.
Like is that...
It's a cultural thing, but there is a systematic reason. That's generational. There's so many things, especially in America, like, that have happened over the years that have real estate, redlining, all those things. We don't got go down that rabbit hole.
That's a different podcast.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a whole different. Yeah, but that is real. Like,
did you have that too, Alec? Like with you?
Oh yeah, everybody made it.
Everybody
makes it when you make it.
Yeah,
it's like you said, it just kind of come with the nature of the business, especially where you come from and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, and you got people that you probably you might have seen them maybe one time,
right?
But they gonna come to you and talking to you as like y'all like first cousins.
Yeah, it's generational, man. So I will say that because even let's take my parents. Like I said, when they came to America, that was them being the first, them coming up, right? So everybody, just think about their whole entire family is looking at them like, oh, y'all made it to America. So my NFL was, the NFL for them was making it to America. My mom getting a scholarship. And so what happened when the war broke out? Oh, they spending bankroll, helping everybody come over, right? And, it's just kind of what comes with it. It's a generational thing. My grandfather, same thing. My great-grandfather was a chief of a village, and my grandfather was the first one to be educated, was the first one to get out of that system. So he helped all his brothers. Yeah, it's like it's deep, man. And same thing with my grandmother.
It's a lot of pressure for a 22-year-old kid, though.
Man, it is. It is. But you understand, man, that you didn't get there by yourself.
Yeah, fair.
Like during that time I came out, my church was almost bankrupt. So I wrote a $30,000 check, bro. And I'm like, dang, what if I took in that $30,000, invested in real estate that created...
You don't want to know the answer.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to help.
Especially in 2010.
But you got it, and so it's like you can't be the one who has 100,000, 200,000 sitting, and you got everybody around you struggling, and you're like, hey, y'all, good luck. Like, sorry, I got to save my money. And these are the people who have been with you from when you were 5, 10 years old, so that it's a lot of pressure, man. It really, really is. And it's so hard to navigate it at that age. Everybody has hindsight. Hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah.
Everybody has all the answers. Yeah. But when you're 21, 22 years old.
In the thick hood.
Yeah. And even like people don't think about the psychological changes that happen because you're coming out of a situation. You were just in college calling everybody, yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
That's what
now you're the CEO. Now it's a battle even calling this person by their first name.
Yeah.
Just little, so you're trying to battle that dynamic. And that's the struggle because now you have an agent that works for you. But this person is 45, 50 years old. And so I'm not about to call him by his first. That's a battle in itself. Just psychologically getting yourself to understand that this person works for me. I don't work for them.
Ronnie talks about it. Ronnie Brown was on the podcast, and he talks about being the CEO of you.
Yeah.
You really are.
In the transition from I'm a college kid to figuring out CEO of you. And for him, he talked about it like 25, 26, a little bit further along in the career, right? You're talking about it year one.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming
22.
to you. Yeah.
How many?
And most of the time it happens at year one where like all that stuff kind of comes with it. Like
Because
as soon as they hear you make it to the NFL, everybody really assumes that you just a millionaire and you got like you said, like they think you just financially smart with whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And you know, one thing for me, what I kind of learned about was like you can't solve everybody's problem.
Exactly.
Like you can't be the savior. Like you just you'll run yourself into the ground like trying to do that. And so, you know, a big thing that, like you say, you try to tell young guys and stuff like that is like, hey, man, like I understand you want to help people, but it's ways to go about doing that.
Right.
Like, every time, it's not good to just keep writing that check every time because when that money stop coming in from the NFL and all that, then what?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? People like, oh, I need you. Like, man, I'm not making no money. Like,
how did you learn to say no?
It's still hard for me.
It's hard.
It's still hard.
It's the way I look at it, like it's not an athlete thing, man. This is a human thing.
Yeah.
You got CEOs, you got so many people who same thing. It's hard for them to say no, and their company goes bankrupt, and then it's
not hard for me to say no. I say no.
I mean, but you see it happen a lot where you have companies that are thriving, and then 5 years, they don't innovate. They you got to evolve. Industry changes, things.
But it's different when it's cousins, family members, connections that
try to play on your heartstrings and stuff and all of that stuff like that. And so I know I still like working through that process. Being able to say no without necessarily feeling like terrible about saying no. Like that's kind of my biggest thing was me saying no. Now I feel like I'm like the bad guy. So it's like, no, man, I can't do it because one, it doesn't align with what I'm trying to do, what I have going on. And two, like, I have a family, I got responsibility, I got all this, like, I can't solve your problem, like, by just writing the check, like, because 2 weeks later, you're going to be calling back, oh, can I get, I need some more money, I need this, that, and the other. So it's kind of that thing of battling through that. But, I know a lot of guys that battle through that, and the more you can say no, and not feel as bad about it, I think it helps you out in the long run, gives you that peace. Like you just kind of, everybody want that peace, they want their time. Like it causes, causes arguments and stuff within like your home and stuff like that too. So
I'll add to that, man. The hardest thing about making that transition into the league is the fact that you still see yourself as the same person, but the way that everybody perceives you changes. And that's a hard
Alec
thing.
talks about it. He's like, I'm still me.
Yeah, you still you. You still trying to figure out your life. Your brain's not even fully developed, but everybody sees you completely differently. And it's the added weight of the fact that everybody, or not, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people feel entitled to live the life that you have.
Yeah.
On the same level, man. And it's like, it's a real entitlement. Like, everybody getting this, so why can't I get it? I'm talking about, and the worst is the people who are closest to you. It's very, very hard. And it's not even just the money. It's like access. So you're playing in the game. How many times you had this happen? You had a family member that ain't never come to one of your little league games, high school games.
They were free.
And And now they expect tickets. They don't just want, they expect tickets. And not just one. They want to bring their homeboy. They want to bring, this person they know to impress this person.
Them tickets not free in the league.
Oh, yeah. They're not
free.
Not for you.
No.
They're not. Yeah.
They're not free.
They want access. They want, and this was one of the craziest things. So I had friends that would reach out. Oh, Rennie, I'm so happy for you, man. We got to meet up for lunch. We got to meet up for breakfast. I show up. Oh, Rennie, this is my friend Tom. He's a financial advisor. Oh, Rennie, this is my friend Jackie. She sells insurance. Every time. Yeah.
That's hard.
Plotting.
How many times that happened to you?
Plotting, boy, plotting.
Yeah.
Plotting. Ain't no coincidence that they just showed up.
Right.
Nah, man.
So happy.
Been out here
So-
scheming the whole time.
It's real.
Ugh,
Nah.
it's hard.
22 years old.
It sounds like you're taking all the fun of being a professional athlete right out of the game.
No,
Oh,
I
it
mean,
was fun. We got to be real. It definitely had its perks,
Yeah.
man. The amount
For
of
sure.
experiences, man, you get that the average person would never
sure.
ever dream of. I mean, it definitely makes it worth it. Like just, I remember being on the field with, Peyton Manning, James Harrison. Dude looked like a Mack truck. Like,
He's a scary, scary man.
scary man.
Now he's scary. Like you see him on Instagram
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. He is a scary man.
Doing bench pressing 500 on incline. Going to the Super Bowl.
Wait, just a quick James Harrison story. Did you ever see the video where his kid gets the participation trophy?
I think I did.
So his kid's 6, 5.
Yeah.
Time. And there's a video of they're coming out of like the banquet, the year-end banquet. His kids play football or flag football, I think. And like he gets like a participation trophy. And Harrison like holds up his phone and he's like,
Yeah,
nope.
we ain't
And,
doing
like,
this.
smashes it on the ground. You can see his kid behind him being like, but if my dad was
Wow.
James Harrison,
I know, yeah.
and he
keep
smashed
him
the
up.
trophy on, okay, whatever
All
you
right.
think, Dad. Sounds
crazy.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
for
No,
sure.
Yeah,
you're
you're
good.
almost like a fanboy on the field, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I would be. You're like, that's Peyton Manning.
right. I mean, people only play within Madden. I mean,
That's right.
it was crazy. It was really, really crazy. And then
What was your Madden score, Alec?
I don't know.
You don't know? What was yours, Remy, when you were in?
It wasn't that great.
Yeah, I don't even-
Really? Overall, no?
It would piss
It's
me
never
off.
that good your first
Yeah,
year.
it's
though.
like
Yeah, it's never that good your first couple years.
they
But
just pick. I'm like, what
Yeah.
fucking film are you watching? What are you looking at?
yeah,
Sorry,
man.
we're
you
going off
getting
the
this
rat
right?
hole.
Nah, it's all good.
All right,
It's
so
all good.
first year, you said you came out first year pretty good.
Yeah,
A lot of hands out, trying to
Yeah.
figure out your path. You go back second year. This is still Tennessee.
yeah.
All right.
So I go back second year. This is when
Did you play games first year?
Yeah, played
Okay.
a little bit of special teams, and once again, hindsight is 2020. So I played in 9 games my rookie season. At this time, if you play in more than 8 games, you lose your ability to be on practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
This,
What do you mean the next year?
yeah, the rest of your career
That's
at this
your
time.
career.
What?
Yep.
They recently just changed this whole
Recently
practice
just
squad
changed it.
thing. It used to be you like
You
if
play 8
yeah.
games the next year, whatever, you fall
You
off, they
can't-
bring in a stud, whatever. You can't play practice squad?
practice
Can't be
squad was
practice
only
squad.
for like rookies and stuff.
Yeah, only for rookies at that time.
Mhm.
And this is why this mattered. Because the second year, lockout happens. So
All
we
right,
don't
2011, 12.
Yeah,
right?
2011, 12. So we're locked out all the way until it's time for training camp, basically. Usually do OTAs, all that. So not only that, but our coaching staff gets fired. So we got a new staff,
Wait, who was there then?
Jeff Fisher.
When he was the new guy you brought in, or that's when he got canned?
He got canned.
He got
Okay.
canned.
That's when Jeff.
He came to St. Louis. That's
yeah,
exactly me.
yeah,
That's right.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. Dang.
Yeah. Lil Jeff.
Yeah, great
Love
guy,
Jeff.
man.
Love
So
Jeff.
he was the longest tenured coach when he drafted me. Gets cut. Everybody, gets replaced that next year. Bring in Mike Munchak. First thing he says, we want a bigger front seven. That meant not me.
Mm-hmm.
And so they draft 2 new linebackers, bring in a whole new system and whatnot. Led the team in tackles during the preseason, during training camp. Still got cut. And so one of the toughest moments in my life, because I'm like, when I got the call, I was literally thinking like, man, okay, he about to tell me, good job. The day before, I'm in there with linebackers coach, and he's like, hey, great play right here, man. Like, we going through
You got
the film.
cut? You led the team in tackles?
Yes. Look it up. The article's still there. Got cut, man.
From the numbers.
Yeah, from the numbers.
The tape.
You know?
The tape says, okay, you can play.
Yep.
The tape says you can play.
Then I'm back home, man.
Not for long.
But
Yeah. Go back home, man. I'm training week in, week out, 6, 7, 8 weeks, man. Months pass.
What?
Yeah. I get
Wait.
called. Huh.
You lead the SEC in
Yeah.
tackles.
Mm-hmm.
You have assume a decent year, rookie year. You play 9 games. You're doing something, right?
Yeah.
You lead the preseason in tackles, and nobody calls
So
because you're
this is
cheap
what
at that
happened.
point, right?
Yeah, so this is what happened. So I get a call. First call is from the Carolina Panthers. This one, Thomas Davis, he was one of my mentors. He tore his ACL. They called me, came in to work out for him with 3 other guys. I performed the best, but they're like, Rennie, we'd love to sign you, but you don't have practice squad eligibility. Yeah. Next team call, Chicago Bears. Go out there, work out. great workout. And they're like, we want to sign you, but you don't have practice squad eligibility.
So just for naive people like me, the idea is we bring you into the practice squad, and then when we're ready, your guy gets hurt, they can pull you up into the active roster.
It's about numbers and money. So if they sign me, they have to put me directly on the active roster. And
they might not have a spot for you yet.
Yeah, and I'm still a rookie because I'm only in my second year. So just, I mean, a lot of the league is just about timing and about, luck.
That's why I say it's like
your whole career can go one. And honestly, man, I'm so thankful that happened because I got an accelerated start for my transition. So during this time, when I'm training 4 hours a day, when I'm going and hearing no, I'm also working on myself. So I remember I went to a career transitioning program, the youngest guy in the room. I'm 22, 23 years old. Guys, 30.
You guys are saying, they're like, what are you transitioning from?
Yeah.
You just started.
I'm the young, there's guys who are as old as I am now. I'm about to turn 35 next Friday. There's guys that old who played 10 years, 15 years, had money. And I'm looking across the room and these guys are all lost. Like a lot of them are still lost. And so it was like almost foreshadowing me, letting me know that, hey, just because you have a long career, you're not safe.
Nope.
It don't mean you don't need to know your purpose. And so after that experience, I got like they had us get with a career coach who had us do like assessments.
This is through the NFL?
Yeah, this is through the NFL. Yeah, it was at Georgia Tech. So this is where I first started learning about like personal development and understanding like, just yourself and purpose and all those things. So I started, at that program, I met with the career coach that had me do a strengths finder test and all those different things. That was kind of the foundation. But I started reading tons of books on leadership and mindset. And started meeting with business leaders. I started doing like self-assessments on a SWOT analysis on myself. What skills do I have? How can I offer value to the marketplace? Started doing public speaking. I would stay up 2:00 in the morning on Wix trying to figure out how to build my own website. Like just going ham. Started writing my first book. Because I told myself, man, I'm not going to let anybody control my destiny. Like I don't care if they call me again.
But you're still trying to play at this point.
Oh yeah. Nah, don't get me wrong. I'm training. But I'm like, whether they call me back or not, I'm going to make sure that I do something with this time. And that's when I started writing the book I have out now, Free Agent. I started writing that book, man, and it was really about...
Go get that.
Yeah, how we all find ourselves in that time of uncertainty and time of transition. So I related it to anybody in life, how if you lose your business, like my dad, or if you go through divorce, you lose that person that has always been a part of you, you lose your job, how you're basically a free agent. So how do you find yourself during this time? And so that's really what was the foundation for everything I am now. Yeah.
Great transition there, too. I mean, as you said, that's why we're here, Beyond the Game, is like, go through that, you go through the season, you leave Tennessee, they fire Coach Fish and all that stuff, and next coach come in, they clean house, as what they do all the time. And, as you said, you start working on yourself. A lot of guys don't even know how to do that because, as you said, they so consumed with playing the game of football, which is fine. Like, I get it. You got to grind and all that stuff. But at the same time, you have ample opportunity to work on yourself.
Heck yeah.
Right? You got plenty of opportunity to work on yourself and find out who you are beyond this game.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we all got an end date of playing sports. Like, that's just what it is. Like, there's no avoiding that. I don't care what you do, from the greatest to the worst player. Like, at some point, you're going to stop playing.
That's
and
it.
you're going to have to understand who you are outside of this game.
Yeah.
Like you said, a lot of people struggle with their identity. I remember asking myself one year, like, about 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, who am I? Like,
right.
If I don't play football no more, like, I ask my wife, my brother, all this stuff like this. They encourage you and stuff, but within yourself, like, that's kind of something that you got to look at yourself and be like, man, you know what? I understand that I play football, but I'm much bigger than football. Like, it's something that I can do much bigger than football. This gonna last a short period of time, you know. And understanding. Then you say you start working on yourself, pursuing those. Then you start finding out stuff that you about yourself that you're like, I can really do this.
Like this,
I actually like this.
Yeah.
You know. And so now you did all that, you transition, like you said, you start working on the website and all that stuff, and you're a keynote speaker now, right?
Wait, don't miss the CFL.
Oh yeah.
He had that experience as well,
Yeah.
going overseas.
But nah, get this. So I ended up getting picked up again eventually.
That year?
That same 2012. So I trained that whole from September.
And at this point, wait, just help me. You're not getting paid.
No. The check stopped. That contract I signed, that's that thing gone.
Voided.
Yeah, that thing null and void, like they say.
Just red. I just see
Oh
that in the bank
yeah,
account.
yeah. Still got everything, man. Still got all the bills, but so I'm training, man, and get picked up by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, January 4th, 2012. I'm like, hey, Mom, we back in there. Let's strike up the band. It's all good. I get out there, man, and to Tampa, I'm training. They got a new coaching staff, Greg Schiano and his staff, and I'm excited because I'm like, I'm gonna get out here early. So I get out Tampa, get an apartment, get set up. It's 5 minutes away from facility. Training, man. OTAs come. I'm starting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. NFL draft comes. Guess who they draft?
Levante David.
Levante David, second round.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. So I'm still starting now. Get 2 weeks into rookie. It was either rookie mini camp or veteran mini camp. Like this, probably like the second, third practice. Coach is like, hey, we're gonna let Levante take the reps today. Go from starting third string, make it to the last cuts, back to ground zero, cut again. Yep. Now, now, and I'm still not getting paid. So now it's September of 2012.
That signing bonus is gone.
Oh, that's gone. Or it's dwindling. Yeah, it's
We're working on reverse NIL.
Yeah, now we back to, And so now I'm like, okay, it's not panic mode, but I got to figure something out. So now I go back to UGA, start taking classes back because I left early. And so now I'm the old man on campus. Like, Rennie, I used to watch you when I was a kid. Like, humbling. My book, I'm still working on my book, still building my brand. Now my book is almost done. I'm going to Starbucks. I'm going to Waffle House. I'm meeting with business leaders. I'm doing things on the side, like just going in as a, liaison, kind of leveraging my brand, my Georgia brand, to sit in on business meetings.
Well, how's that work? So you just call? Who you talk? Who's getting you through the door at Starbucks?
Oh, no. I'm talking about to write my book. That's
You're the guy with the coffee in the back typing.
Typing up the book, man. But at this time, I'm just trying to figure out my personal brand. So I'm working with companies.
Do you think you're done with football?
Oh, no. This whole time, I'm like, I'm gonna eventually get back in. I still have the belief.
You're taking classes.
Yeah, but I'm also working on myself. So it's football. I'm training at University of Georgia.
And you still got a daughter.
Yeah, still a father.
Yeah,
still got responsibility.
Still got to pay child support. Yeah. Man, so go through that, man, and then by, I would say, January of 2013, I started getting a call from this guy in Canada, and he's like, "Hey, man, you need to be on the field. Like, you need to play. We can get you up here. You can get you some film. You can get back to the NFL." And first, I'm like, "Man, I ain't trying to go up to Canada. Like, what do I know about Canada?" And I had a buddy, Stevie Baggs. He played in Canada, so I knew a few guys that played up there, but really didn't know anything about it.
Do guys come back from CFL to the NFL? Does it happen? Like,
it happens.
Yeah, very rarely. In my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to go up here, get my film.
Did it before, act on faith.
Yeah, got to act on faith. So get up there after, by this time, my book is out, so I'm now starting to speak, starting to get paid a little bit for it. So I get up there, man.
Wait, just mechanics. Like, where are you living? You're paying rent. I mean, what?
So I'm in Athens. I'm back and forth between Athens and my parents' house.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
this time.
You're back to ground zero.
Back to ground zero,
You still got the Challenger?
I still got the Challenger, yeah. So I at least got that, So, and I had a good savings during this time. So, I didn't go crazy. So I still got a little bit of a nest egg, but it's still like, I got to figure, like I said. And then I had my second career savings, little things like that. But my main thing is, like, I got to get back on the field. I got to keep this money coming in. I got to stay relevant.
So you get called to go to the Edmonton Eskimos.
Did
you know where Edmonton was?
Had no idea, man.
So I grew up playing hockey.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, the Edmonton Oilers that was when Gretzky was there. So they won 3 or 4 Stanley Cups. That was all-time greats, right? Their team were legendary. But Edmonton is out in the middle.
It was out there. It was
Western Alberta is far, far away.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's like Twilight Zone, man. Like, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what I'm doing. My cell phone don't work, And it was like, honestly, one of the best experiences of my life. I got up there and I quickly realized that there were a lot of guys like me. There were a lot of guys who were really great players who like should be in the league. I mean, one of the guys, Darius Bowman, he played with Des Bryant. Just as good, if not better than Des Bryant. Just decided that I'm not going to deal with the politics in the NFL. I'm just going to make my career in the NFL.
Can you make money?
I mean, in the CFL. Yeah, I mean, you can get up to, at that time, you could get up to six figures. I mean, 180, 200 Canadian, which you translate that, you know.
It's better than zero.
Yeah, oh yeah. And the work days are shorter. So you get up, you practice at 8 a.m., you're done by 1. So you have that aspect of being able to develop yourself off the field, things like that. It's less wear and tear on your body, 3 downs instead of 4. So
that's right too.
Yeah. So it was the same thing. I got
CFL,
up there.
they get the running head start, right?
Yeah,
the
exactly.
wide receivers
Different
start in the
rules.
backfield. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got up there, man, and it was literally the same thing that I mentioned my whole entire career, where I had to wait until that opportunity came. Same thing. So in Canada, they have the Canadian rule, or the ratio rules, what they call it, so that it basically doesn't turn into a NFL farm league. So you have to have a certain amount of Canadian players on the team and on the field at all times.
Canadian people play football?
They do. Don't sleep on it.
Everybody plays hockey?
Yeah. So even if you're better than, half the linebackers out there, if they're Canadian, there's going to be 3 spots reserved, 2 spots reserved for just them. So you're really competing with the, 5 American linebackers to get those 2 spots. Yeah. So it was extremely tough, just trying not to get caught up in those kind of variables and those numbers and the politics and whatnot, and just stay focused and wait for my opportunity to come.
And you got it.
Yeah.
You played a couple years up there, right?
Yeah,
Edmonton,
got it.
and then somewhere else.
Got it. Played up there 2 years, man. Had a great experience up there. And it was cool just getting to see all in Montreal and, Toronto and all those places, man. Came back after 2 years, tried out for a couple more teams. I actually tried out for the Falcons. And guess what? They said, hey, Rennie, great job, but we're going to go with the taller guy. That's literally what they said. Yeah. So it's like I could not get away from that, man. Like my whole career. I remember talking to the Detroit Lions GM at that time, and he's like, man, I sent him my film. I mean, I'm swole. I'm like most elite version of myself. And this man was like, I just don't think you fit the mold of what we're looking for. I'm like, bro, at this point, I'm fed up. Like, I'm like at the point where I'm about to cuss these GMs. I'm like, do you want somebody that can play, or do you want somebody that looks good in a uniform? What the hell do you want?
But nobody gets fired. My dad worked for IBM. He used to say, nobody gets fired for buying IBM. Right?
Yeah.
So when you take a risk, if you're the GM and you take a risk on a Rennie, they're going to be like, well, of course it didn't work out.
Exactly. Look at him.
Yeah.
Right.
He doesn't fit the linebacker mold. That's on you, Mr. GM. The GM who takes the Alec Ogletree, right? 6'4", 250.
Safe. Yeah.
Look.
Safe pick.
Right.
Safe pick.
Yep.
I mean,
it look good because it just fit the mold.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard to overcome.
Oh, man. Yeah.
All right. So when did you know football was done for you?
Yeah, man. So it was after I came back from playing with the BC Lions. This is now 2015. Now, like my speaking brand is really starting to pick up. I'm actually starting to get paid for this thing. Like, I'm starting to I got certified as a leadership and business coach. So I'm starting to meet different people in the industry, in the leadership and personal development space. John Gordon was one I met randomly through Twitter. Another guy I met, Michael Ross, he was a guy who was a business coach. So they both kind of took me under their wings, kind of showed me their systems. Michael Ross's company, HBK Leadership and High Performance, is where I got certified as a leadership and business coach. And he actually set me up with business owners to coach them. And so now I'm starting to understand, and I'm starting to go to different companies, kind of walk around, do externships, and see how their systems work. And I'm starting to make the connection between like playing linebacker, being on the team, and like businesses and how they operate. Like sitting with the sales team, being like, okay, that's kind of like offense. Marketing team, okay, this kind of like defense. And then, looking at the operations and being like, okay, that's kind of like special teams. Making those connections and just slowly starting to understand how those things work and how I can add value. And so by 2016, still training. And the spring league comes up, and I'm like, okay.
What's spring league?
Spring league was basically kind of like how you got the XFL and
Okay.
These different developmental leagues. So get the piece of mail from them, man, saying, hey, come out, it's in West Virginia. This chance to showcase yourself.
Oh, I know the end of the story. I don't want to hear
man.
it.
Yeah.
That's when your knee destroys.
Yeah, man. So go out there, and on my drive, it was a 6-hour drive, and on my drive up there, I'm praying to God. I'm like, God, man, show me. If you want me to play, let me know. If you don't want me to play, let me know. So, and I always tell people now, I'm like, you got to be
what you ask.
careful what you pray for. You pray that prayer of clarity, he will answer.
Yeah.
And so first day we get out there, we get all our pads, we get our playbook, we meet the coaches. I mean, I'm feeling great. You know, I can put whatever on the bar, squat it. I'm like, yeah, this is game time, man. I'm ready to get back in, show everybody what I'm made of. Second day, we go through walkthroughs and everything. Third day, we get out on the field. It's our first competition day. We're all lined up doing one-on-one drills. Guy walks out. First rep of the day. Guy walks out on the offensive side. Ben Tate played running back at Auburn. I played against Ben Tate. So I'm like, oh, man, I got this dude. Let's go. So I walk up, man, cover Ben Tate one-on-one. I run up to cover him. Boom.
Right into each other.
It was like in the movie where, you know, it goes in slow motion and all that. Yeah, I just started falling backwards. In slow motion, it was like in slow motion, and then I tried to get up real quick because I was like, "Man, did this dude just like run me over? Like we're not wearing pads." So tried to get up real quick, and then felt that pain in my knee, man. And I just like collapsed, and then and like as soon as I hobbled from the field to like the training room, it was maybe like 20 yards away. Like by the time I got there, like my whole knee was like bigger than my thigh, man. And that's when I was like, "All right, God, like." Yeah.
Thanks, God.
Yeah, like I hear you.
I hear you loud and clear.
I hear you, yeah. It was crazy because I wasn't crying. I wasn't devastated. Like I had peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had peace, man, just because I knew like I literally left everything on the field. I did everything.
That was a promise you made to yourself.
Yeah, I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't lift harder. I couldn't work, anything, man. And so, like, at that time, I was like, all right, it's go time. So I drove back to Athens, man, and
your kneecap
I didn't
in your
even know.
thigh?
Yeah, I didn't even know what the injury was. Like, I'm walking on it, bro, and I'm just, like, collapsing as I'm walking. I got in the car the next day, just left. I didn't even tell anybody. I just left. Drove back to Athens, at 6 hours, met with Ron Corson, legend, and they did all the scans and whatnot. They said, Rennie, sorry to tell you, man, but you completely torn your patella tendon. So 2 days later, I'm in the hospital, man. I wake up, got a freaking straight leg brace on, got a zipper down my knee. That was hard to see, man.
Where's like health insurance and stuff coming from? Sorry, but
They cut you off. So
who's paying for your surgery? You?
they wrote it off. They wrote it off. Yeah, thank God. I mean, because I don't even know what
The
that bill
spring
would have
league.
been. No, not the spring league, Georgia.
Oh, Georgia
Yeah.
gave you a freebie.
Yeah, they gave me a freebie, man, and it was
Did you ever
because
think about if the guy who's doing the surgery knew it was going to be free?
Oh yeah, he knew.
He's like,
They all knew.
Maybe I'll just.
They knew. It was a write-off for them, I guess, or something like that. But I'm just glad, and I talk about this all the time with athletes. I'm like, you better be very careful how you treat people when you're in position of success, because you don't know when you're going to need those same people. If I was an asshole, man, and I came back there in that moment, they were going to send me that bill. I got no doubt. And it was going to be a hefty bill. But they took care of me, man. And, I woke up, like I said, 2 days later, I'm in surgery. After surgery, man, it's like I went from elite athlete to like my mom had to bathe me, bro. Like that joint was humbling. That was hard. But like I said, I had that peace.
That you knew what was next.
Yeah.
You've already been working on yourself.
I already had the foundation. I wasn't like, dang, what the hell? I can imagine if I was now trying to ask that question and doing all that work that I did at 22. I'm now 29, 30.
Yep.
Yeah. And so...
You already planted those seeds.
Yep. Already planted the seeds, man. And this is why I talk to athletes. I'm super passionate about this when I talk about talk to athletes. I'm like, you got to start the transition before the transition. So literally 3 days after, it was like 2 to 3 days after I'm in the hospital, I have a speaking engagement. I'm in the middle school on crutches, bawling my eyes out, man, talking to those kids, man. And that's where it all started, man. That's where I was full-time entrepreneur. And so I got me an apartment in Chamblee, And I just picked up the scraps and kept moving, man. And now I'm thinking about, okay, I need to apply the same mentality. You know, I can pick up the phone. All the seeds that I planted, now it's time for the harvest to come. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I talk about that with my kids. It's like what you're doing today is for 3-year you.
Man, yeah.
Right? And it's hard for people to see down the road.
Yeah.
It's
like it ain't happening fast enough for me.
Yeah, right.
There's something fast pace.
There was an analogy somebody gave me that I really loved. Is like life is like driving on a foggy road, right? You can see only the 5 feet in front of you.
Yeah.
Right? And you drive a little further and you've exposed more of the road. Mm-hmm. And eventually you get to the end of the road, you've gone on a pretty incredible trip, but you never know what's down around the corner. You just keep going forward that next 4 or 5 feet.
Yep.
You know, you light up the rest of the way, just keep moving forward. And Alec, to your point, it's hard for people to be like, I'm doing this for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially you guys, from an athletic standpoint, like you said, you guys are elite of the elite.
Yeah.
You've always been that way. Mm-hmm. And now you're thinking to yourself, how the mentality that has gotten you there is probably what prohibits you thinking about like, well, maybe I can't do this anymore. It's like, of course I can. I'm a first-round draft pick. I'm an All-American. I led the SEC in tackle. Like, that's a hard mental shift to go through.
Extremely
especially
hard.
As a kid. I mean, you're still a kid, 25, 26. 27.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Did you, I already know the answer. Did you make enough money to never work again?
Heck no. Heck no.
So it wasn't like you were coming out saying, I'm good. I'm good for 4 or 5 years. I'm just going to take it easy. Definitely it was right back to the grind.
It was right back to the grind. And, you know, like I said, because I established that foundation, I didn't have to go into panic mode, you know, and I did have to get that help, man. Of course, being in school, having to get an apartment, still having child support, still having different things. So that was a big factor, man, was like making sure that I wasn't bleeding out too fast. Because the money I made in Canada, boy, when you transfer that thing from US Canadian to US, you get hit. And then taxes, you get hit again. So it was extremely tough.
Were you paying taxes there and here?
Yeah. You got to pay taxes, man, on both sides. So that was extremely, extremely tough. But what bought me time was the fact that I had my personal brand and I could like monetize that brand. And that's what a lot of us don't understand as athletes is like, you got so many people you come across, fans, and these aren't just fans. I stopped saying fans after a certain point because I realized these are CEOs. These are people who are, business partners. These are politicians. Like, these are people you have access to.
And they know your name.
Right. They know you. They know specific moments. Their kids have specific memories of you. But if all that happens in the conversation is, hey, I love watching you play, and you're just entertainment, then you're missing out on a major opportunity. And so I started to understand, man, okay, I can take this conversation and actually turn it into legit business. And so because I was able to do that and understand that, and it's not just about me coming and taking, also it's also me adding value and understanding what are their needs, what are their goals, who are they trying to meet, who's their target audience. Because I had that mindset and I was humble, like that humility, man, just admitting when you don't know something or just saying, hey, how does this work? Or what do you do? Tell me more. Sometimes playing dumb. You know, it took me such a long way and it helped me overcome things. That's something I see a lot of athletes struggle with. It's like you ask them, bro, what you got going on? Like, and I'm doing this, that, and the third. They're not doing half the time nothing really. They're trying to figure it out. So really that humility and telling myself, like this was big for me in that time, was telling myself, man, Rennie, how many years did it take you to be great and get to the league in the NFL, whatnot?
10,000 hours.
10,000 hours. So I was like, okay, it took 10,000 hours. So how long do you think it's going to take you to be great at business? Right? Same thing. I got to start out in Little League in business. And and this is what I tell athletes all the time, man, like you can't expect to just transfer this success over here and think it's just going to be a light switch.
No.
Like, nah, you got to learn the fundamentals. You got to have a team. So many of us isolate ourselves. You got to have a team. You got to have a routine. And so much of that time and so much of what helped me was recreating the things that made me great over here and bringing it over into my real life. Yeah.
It's a cool story, man.
Thank you.
It's a long journey.
No.
Boy.
No, we won't take up too much more of your time.
Nah, man, I could talk about this all day, bro.
I know, I'm very interested for sure.
Yeah.
Like just the story, just the grind, just the mentality, like you said, that you had. And for me, what I'm taking from it, like, you kind of had that switch go off, as you said, at 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Just going through what you went through, and then kind of just as you got going through high school and college and just everything you had to deal with. And so to continue to find that motivation, using everything, your circumstance as your motivation, you know, of what you're going through to help you grind and push through each situation. Not knowing half the time, most people would have just been like, man, I'm done. Like,
what?
I'm done. I've been done. Like, been checked out mentally. And you fall in it. A lot of people fall in trouble like that. That's just that's how you get into trouble like that. You know, people just check out. You know, so you know, like I said, we appreciate you, man. Just sharing that story and
being vulnerable.
And being vulnerable, like you said. No, that's the thing too. Is like you man enough to be like, nah, man, I don't understand all of this. What I'm trying to do, right?
Well, when I say
I'm going out here,
I did not understand. Like I didn't even know what, like, when I started networking and trying to really get into business and, you know, understanding terminology. So, you know, when you hear business casual, like what does that mean?
Yeah.
When you go to a networking event. So I'm showing up with my muscle shirt and, you know.
Looking like the athlete.
Yeah, looking at, I mean, so, but I'm really big on growth mindset, man. So just getting the reps, putting yourself in positions that you're uncomfortable, continue to just get the reps in. It was the same thing. So I put myself in those environments. Sometimes I'll say things that's wrong. You know, even speaking. If I look at my video now from 2015, man, I hate watching it.
I didn't even like listening to our first episode.
I was cringing. I ain't gonna lie.
Right.
I cringed. Same thing. You go back and look at old stuff and just how you started out.
Yeah.
But like you said, the more reps you do at it, obviously the better you're gonna get it. It's just the same thing. That 10,000 hours. Like so, it's doing that.
Yeah.
What do you tell 21-year-old you? Knowing what you know now.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's probably a question we ask everybody as we wrap is like, what lessons do you want 21-year-old you to know?
Yeah. I mean, just know that you're going to be okay. Number one, you're going to be all right. That's what I'll tell 21-year-old Rennie, because it was so many moments that happened. It was just like, bro, I don't know what's going on. You up 1 second, and next thing you down, like it's dark. So I would just say, man, you're going to be all right. Second thing I would say, man, start doing that work on yourself ASAP. Like, who is Rennie Curran? And not just the surface, because even the work that I did, it was very surface level. It was very focused on business and, like, survival and you know, generating revenue, which is great. You need money to survive. Don't get me wrong. But when I say get to know who you are, I mean doing a serious, deep work, like therapy. I'm talking about that type of get to know who you are. The things from your childhood, you know, that create patterns. Shape you, that affect how, you know, you navigate relationships and different things, whether you hurt people or not. Like, a lot of that stuff stems from your childhood, right? And I didn't even talk about that, man. That's for another show, but there was a lot of work.
Have your back.
Yeah. There's a lot of work that I had to do, deep inner work. There was a lot of things that I had to unlearn from the game. There was so many times that I heard, even that from hearing that I was too short, it put me in this mindset where I didn't love myself, but it didn't show up like me not loving myself. It showed up with me trying to just chase, whether that was relationships with women, whether that was different businesses. I call it toxic ambition. Nothing was ever good enough, right? But it was really the root of it that I didn't find out until I did the deep inner work was I didn't love myself because of all those times I heard that I was too short. So there was this, that's what I would tell 21-year-old Rennie, man, is you got to do that work, bro. Like, football will not save you. That success is not going to save you. That money is not going to save you from the work you need to do on yourself to get to know who you are and your real identity.
It's powerful. Wisdom.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Again, man, we appreciate you coming on, man.
Definitely, bro.
Most definitely.
Appreciate y'all having me,
Definitely
man.
have you back. What can they find you at? You know, they want to get in contact with you.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know, Instagram, Twitter, X, or whatever it is.
Yeah, right. Everything's just Rennie Curran, man. Website's renniecurran.com. Website for my foundation is the Game Changers Foundation.
Okay.
Game Changers Foundation, GA.org is the website. So if there's any athletes who are going to be watching this, you're interested in speaking and really being a leader in your community, man, whether it's mentoring, being a part of our free camps, anything like that, man, feel free to reach out. If you're interested in public speaking, anything like that, man, or if you want help with your transition. I work with a lot of guys now who are in the middle of starting their transition, don't know, how to start monetizing their brand or anything like that. So, yeah, definitely reach out.
Game changers.
Yep.
Thanks, Rennie. Appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Game. Please like, subscribe, comment on your favorite platform. It helps others find the show.
Special shout out to Open Heart Media, who has helped produce Beyond the Game. Check them out at openheartmediaco.com.